So if you are vacationing in Spain or Portugal right now, your flight has probably been delayed. So first off, I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Second off, I just wanted to give some tips about how to get creative about how to get back home. First of all, if you're safe and you're in a hotel or something, I encourage you to make the most of the vacation. It's gonna be a story, and it can either be a fun story or it can be a miserable story. Probably both will make for a good story, but one will be more fun. If you haven't seen White Lotus, if you've seen White Lotus, think about in that first series, the guy that's so upset that he got the wrong beautiful room for his honeymoon, that he ruins his whole vacation trying to fix which room he's in, and he's in this gorgeous room with a private pool. So if you're in Spain or Portugal right now, enjoy where you're at as you try to solve the problem of how do you get home. The first thing to do is to call your airline. They are the ones that can most help you get home. And be as flexible as possible when you're talking to them. Offer any options and anything that you can think of. So if you could get to an alternate airport that might be bigger, tell them you can do that. If you're willing to fly to like another European city and do an overnight there, like say if you get me to London, I'm happy to spend a night there, do that. We were once flying out of Denver and there was a really big snowstorm and most of the flights had been canceled. We were trying to get to New Orleans. And the Southwest agent and I got really creative and he flew us, I don't even remember if it was Kansas City or if it was St. Louis, but he flew us to some city that I considered like partway there, and we spent the night at a hotel near the airport and flew on to New Orleans the next day. I did the same thing once coming back to Denver from Raleigh. Southwest canceled my flight. They said it was going to be 2 days. I managed to get an American Airlines flight to Dallas. They couldn't get me to Denver, but they could get me to Dallas. I spent the night in the airport hotel and then got a flight the very first thing the next morning to Denver. So if you can be creative or flexible, maybe stay a couple extra days in Portugal or Spain, let your airline know once you get a hold of them and you're able to talk to them. If you are having trouble, getting a hold of your airline, if the cell phone networks aren't working well, then definitely call your travel agent if you have one. They can do all this work for you. They can stay on hold for you for the hour and a half or 3 hours or whatever it takes. Just let your travel agent know how flexible you can be and what types of things you would consider. If you don't have a travel agent, maybe ask a friend who's sitting on their sofa at home and doesn't mind listening to some hold music for a while. Maybe ask them if they would do that. When we were traveling in Cuba one Christmas, I couldn't book an Airbnb. In Cuba, I don't know if it's still this way, but in Cuba when we were there, each person was limited to an hour of internet a day. It wasn't very good. If you didn't have a VPN, you couldn't do very much on the internet, and we couldn't book Airbnbs. So I called my mother-in-law, and she very gracefully managed to rearrange part of our trip for us. So if you can't get hold of the airline or you keep getting dropped, call a travel agent, call a friend, call someone that can help you out with that. And remember, above all, to be flexible. And then it's probably too late to buy travel insurance if you haven't already. I recommend travel insurance. We have an annual plan that covers all sorts of things that are very useful. I don't know whether this power outage will be covered by travel insurance. The general meme seems to think that it will be, but there's no way to tell at the moment. But keep all your receipts. And even if you don't have travel insurance, keep all of your receipts. Because maybe the airline will help you out with some of that. Maybe the credit card you bought your ticket on or your hotel with will cover some of it. So just keep all your receipts. If you don't have your receipts, you're not going to get reimbursed for anything. If you have your receipts, you can check what your options are. You might even have options through the European has travel laws and guidance around missed and delayed flights, much like the United States does as well. So just keep all your receipts. If you have to stay an extra night at a hotel, if you had to go out and buy any supplies, if you rebooked your own flight, which I don't recommend, but if you did it because you got one and you wanted to get out, just keep receipts for all of that and you can sort it out when you get home. So those are my tips for if you are stuck in Spain or Portugal. First off, I hope you're enjoying being stuck in Spain or Portugal. I hope it's not too stressful. Remember to enjoy the journey, to call your airline, be as flexible as possible when you call them. If you're having trouble calling them or staying on the line, have a friend help you, and then keep all of your receipts. Safe journeys.